Hey, I have no idea what is happening at the moment. It's just telling me I have an error. So I don't know if you all can hear me or see me. I know I got cut off. It was all set up too. I usually set up 30 minutes before to make sure everyone can hear what I'm saying, but I'm now getting an error code. So I'm not sure if you all can hear and see me, but it looks like it's telling me to try playback, try later, try again later. It's the same thing I've been doing. Oh, so I might just, I'm gonna wait a few minutes, but I might end up recording my message and uploading it so you guys can catch me that way, because I'm not sure if you can hear me or see me. Hi. Oh, no other lives or videos are playing correctly either. No. Okay, okay, good. If you can see and hear me, I don't really care what the screen is telling me on YouTube. So we're just going to get into it. You know, technology is just doing its thing, and I could see your comments. So thank you for your patience. I have no idea what today's challenge is. Yes, I'm back. Woo-hoo. I feel like I need some pom-poms. Pom-poms. All right, ladies, gents, my apologies for these tech challenges. I'm glad that you can see and hear me. We're just going to leave it at that. Um, Hold on a second. I don't know what it's telling me to upgrade something. Not sure what that is. Anyway, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you all so much, and thanks for being patient. It's the middle of October already. Can you believe it? It's October 15th, and we just have a few more months left in 2025. This is like really one of my favorite times of the year, not just because it's my birthday coming. And no, I don't have plans. I never make like group plans. I usually travel or stay low key. But yeah, I'm still excited because we're gonna have so many like people in and out of here, and people are already here. But over the next couple of weeks, this is definitely one of my busier quarters, so I'm grateful for that. And I'm grateful for all my repeat clients. I have some more repeat clients who are coming back or already here, and it's just really a blessing to see everyone. This week, well, I could say in general, the last couple of weeks have been really like a mix of really amazing, cool things, but also a lot of challenging things. So tonight I decided I was going to do kind of like a what's on my mind, just the things that have been somewhat challenging, other things that come up that I guess we could like ingest and you know, kind of hang on to stuff, but sometimes we just have to move beyond those things and keep ourselves in the right frame of mind so that we can accomplish the goals that we want. So if this is your first time coming to my channel, I'm Michelle Wedderburn. I am the founder of Casa Elm Boutique Guest House, located in San Miguel de Allende, which is in central Mexico. And I'm also the founder of Hacienda Elm, which is a 60 plus community for people who want to live in community. We have suites with bathrooms, full, you know, nice full space, lots of outdoor things to do and activities. It's a beautiful property, lots of land, and it's a little bit outside of Central, but not super far. It's about 10 minutes by car. And so someone corrected me on Facebook in a crabby way, because that's how people are on Facebook and social media. But they said it's not a colonia. To me, colonia just means neighborhood. That's the way I translated it. But they were like, no, it's a rancho with the multiple O's. That's the reason why I did that. And I was like, okay, you can relax now. Muy tranquilo, por favor, gracias. So it was just me letting you all know all of these things where I didn't respond to it, but these things are like, just me still learning. I've been here for 7 years and I'm still learning, a lot of details. There's a lot. There's like, I don't think I will ever know all of the things unless I just dedicated myself fully. But we have a lot of other things that are going on that are also important. So before we get into our topic tonight, I just wanted to kind of cover that and say that I would love for you to subscribe. Please make sure you hit the like button. If you come in on the replay, make sure you hit the like button. Share what it is that I'm doing here. I absolutely love what I do. I love that I get to see new people, meet new people, but also get to meet and receive, I should say, people that have been here before. It's been such a blessing. One of the ladies just came back today. She was here earlier this year. We had such an amazing time. She did my relocation tour and she's back. She's getting her residency. So hand claps to all the people that have come back this year, last year to get their residency here in Mexico. I'm super proud of all of you. I feel like a mama hen, like, my chicks, or I should say a mama, and all my baby chicks. And just seeing people, stepping into a whole new thing, a new chapter. And that's also part of what I want to talk about tonight is, manifesting things that we want to have happen in our lives. So before we do all of those things, I'm going to get into like our sponsors and all the things that are coming up, but I want to say welcome to Cheryl. Hi, thank you. I'm glad that you're here. And thanks for being here. Hi, Michelle. Welcome. Michelle is Miss Ingenuity, and she is our sponsor of all of our teas that are on the shelf here at Casa Elm and Hacienda Elm. It's really a beautiful thing to have, brands that are won by women, Black women. So if you have a product or something like that that you feel could align with what we're doing, I'm happy, to share that. It's not something I seek out. I do have a lot of companies that send me messages to collaborate, and if I had a bit more time to focus on those things, I would. But a lot of them are random, and I really like to stay true to what it is that I'm doing and the things that I'm offering. I don't want it to start feeling gimmicky and just like based on commercial things and money. Not that, I don't want to get paid and things, but I feel like, there are certain items that I just feel like are not in alignment with what we do. So I want to say thank you to Michelle for being our tea sponsor. I'm going to drop her link in the chat. So if you are looking for her teas, and she also has an amazing book as well that helps you align health, the body, with teas. So there's a lot to know about that as well. Welcome, Khadijah. Hey, yes, I'm back. Welcome, Cheryl. Seeds say so. I'm sorry, I need my glasses, but welcome. Thank you for being here. It could be a platform issue, Michelle. It's been happening to others as well. Okay, that's good to know because I was thinking that I had to go in and update and do a bunch of things, which I don't like. Tech is not my thing. Hi, Chastity. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome back. I appreciate you. Adria, welcome. Thank you so much. She said, I love what you're doing. I'm reading some of the comments in case you're not on here and you're watching it later because someone told me that sometimes they're watching from their TV and they don't have the side chat and it's a replay. So I'm trying to be consistent with that. Hi, Queen Bee, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that. She likes the hair and lip color. Gracias. I actually had a meeting today, so I decided to put my 3D shirt on. I love the shirt. And get the matching pink lipstick. So let's jump into the things that I want to share with you. First off, I want to share, and I think I did this last week as well, but Gabby Osafora and we did a really amazing. Well, we were part of this beautiful documentary, which I spoke about a few months ago, but they had to go back in and re-edit the documentary. I have posted it on my socials. I have also posted it in my e-blast. So if you are not already subscribed to my newsletters that go out on average twice a week, please make sure you do that at casaelm.com. And then when you do that, you'll start receiving all the updates and information about what we're doing. This in particular was really special because this organization called Actuality Abroad .org approached me quite a few months ago, earlier this year, and asked if they could talk about, what I do, and if there's anyone that I'm working with that's Mexican that I collab with and whatever. And I really, really love what Gabby does with the women and her art workshop through therapy. She also is a facilitator for my Peace Not Pieces women's retreat, which you can find information on my events page. I'm going to drop the events page link in a moment, but we have one in May of next year. She and Kate Van Doren are like amazing therapists, but not just that, they're art therapists. So there's just kind of like this different way of going through healing and just the processes that come up and out of her 9-week program is just so beautiful. My retreat is a week long, and she spends a full day with us. And then Kate Van Doren also spends a full day with us in our group doing, like a series of different workshops that are really art related. And so much comes out of that when you have time to be creative and, just kind of put, like, we do collages and things, but then we talk about it. So many emotions come out of these sessions that are super healing and just kind of helps you come down. So if that's something that you think you might be interested in, you can find that also on my events page. But with this documentary, she works on a continuous basis with women in her 9-week or 10-week program. And then after the program, they have their pieces, and we've been able to bring them here to Casa Elm, and we usually do like some kind of art opening, and we invite people from the community to come, and they've been selling their pieces for the last 2 that we've done here at Casa Elm. So the documentary really focuses a lot on her work and how we fit in and how we've collapsed. So please check it out when you get a chance. This is the link for it. And yes, so there's that. Also, Tracy and I are doing our Black Blossom again next year. For those who might have missed it this year, may still want to join us. It's going to be next year, March 16th through 22nd. 2026 is going to be in the beautiful Oaxaca on the beach. We had an amazing time this year. We've done quite a few just videos together the last couple weeks. Join our Black Blossom group. But this is the link to get more information about that retreat. I'm not going to get into that. Also, Hacienda. Okay, Hacienda Elm. We're still looking for more residents. I understand this is a different process that takes a little bit more time because, people are interested. They're kind of trying to feel it all out, if it works for them or not. So we do have a couple of individuals that are going to be coming in a few weeks. We're super excited about that. The place is ready for all of you. We had an amazing time about 2 weekends ago. I invited a group of individuals to come, and we were 10 of us over there. There's 6 rooms, but we were 10, a couple couples, and it was just really nice. We used the pool, we walked the land, we picked the fruit and all the things, and we had amazing meals. We watched movies. It was really beautiful. So if that sounds like something for you, please do check out this link in our Try It On offer. Dia de los Muertos, if you are in town, please join Anne Marie and I for our Dia de los Muertos, which is happening on November the 2nd. And here are the events that are coming for Casa Elm. This is our events page. So if you're interested in doing relocation or anything, just check it out. Read, scroll down and read. There's a lot there. There's a lot to see. There's a lot to do. And there's a lot you can participate in. And I've already had some individuals sign up for our Thanksgiving week, which is this year. That's happening. I just dropped the link. So please check that out because that's a lot of fun. We have our brunch, which is going to be roots and rhythm, total Jamaican fusion brunch. Yes, I am the head chef. And this is, if you're in San Miguel, the link, if you want to just buy tickets, I think I have 2 spaces left. I think there's 2. But then the one before is Thanksgiving week. I think I also have 2, maybe 3 spaces, but that's for the whole week. So if you're already living here and you're watching this, you can do just the brunch, which is on November 23rd. Or if you're out of town and you want a Thanksgiving getaway, this is perfect space for it. It's not too cold, it's not too hot. And we're going to go to the vineyard. I'm also going to cook on Thanksgiving Day. And this is what I did last year. It was a lot of fun, but I also did brunch. So I do brunch the Sunday before, and then we have like a few activities during the week. And then on Thanksgiving Day, we have dinner. And then the following day is checkout. Unless you want to stay a little longer, you're always welcome to extend that. So that's what I have for you. I hope I'm not missing anything. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat. Hi, Fredessa. Okay, I'm going back up to see who I missed. Yes, the tea is absolutely amazing. Hey, Khadijah, thank you for watching the documentary. Please share. It's really a beautiful piece. It's about 10 minutes long. But yeah, please do share. Hi, Fredessa, thank you. I appreciate that. She said you look stunning. Finally, I could get on. Yay. I was actually just talking about you to Lisa just about an hour and a half ago. And she was telling me about your fun excursions around the globe. So good on you. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, let's get started. So today is a little bit of a mix, because I just had the documentary, I just dropped it. Hold on a second, Angel. I'll drop it for you one more time. Let's see. You see me squinting? By the way, I rescued 2 kitties. So if you hear meowing in the background, that's them. Okay. And yeah, they're in like a little cage. So someone, I want to have them for the exterior at Hacienda because they are great outside. So, I've been kind of given a lot of different things. Like I'm a dog person, but cats are cute. I just feel like they're kind of independent, but these are like 6 weeks. They're like little tiny, tiny. 6 weeks old. They were abandoned, and I actually think it would be great because we have a lot of land out there and they're great hunters. So I wanted to have 2 loving animals because that's what they are. And it came about, and I said, okay, we're going to put them over there outside, and they'll, be well taken care of. They'll have all their things and stuff like that. But there's a lot of space, and they're just active that way. And it's all enclosed, so there's not like escape routes and stuff like that. But I have to wait for them to get a little bigger. So yeah, they're super cute. Their names are, so one's gray and the other ones kind of look like a Snicker bar, but we decided to name them Sand and Storm, so Sandstorm. They're super cute. All right, now let's get started with everything. So tonight I wanted to just kind of share like a series of like things that I thought are really more like personal, I guess, and how I've been just trying to manage, just like the level of, probably I want to say stress, that comes at me, especially because I'm with the start of my business over at Hacienda. And, I've been doing this for over 4 years, meaning physical, but I've been with my business for about 6 years. And, it's sometimes it's hard to kind of manage all the emotions that kind of come with it. And then being in a foreign country, there's just a lot going on. A lot of people are going through a lot of things. And, it's this week it still is. It's like, it's been all about like contracts, employment contracts, just like things that I have to kind of work through. And I have a tendency to like push back on the things I don't want to do. It's not really so much just procrastination. It's just kind of like I have to be in the right headspace to tackle it. And I need to have like, uninterrupted time where I can just focus, and my phone is going off like all day long for you name it. It doesn't matter. Things don't always work right. Trying to send bank transfers, and sometimes it's like, what? It's working, it's not working. So there's a lot happening on a regular basis that can really get really crazy. So what I wanted to talk about was really what I've learned or been learning is mindset, and how often I have done this in my life where I kind of try to push it till it's just like you absolutely need to handle your business like a sippity sap. And sometimes it's just like when I get through it or I go through or I do, it's like I think about all the perceptions that I had about what was going to happen potentially or whatever. I might have kind of been pushing against, like, what if this, or, what if that? And I think, too, one of the things I want to say, and this is still in relation to having a business in Mexico. So it's a bit of a continuation of last week, but from the business standpoint, is, uncertainty gives us a lot of anxiety. And if we sit in that, we aren't going to move forward, right? So oftentimes, depending on how you are, your personality type, and this applies to relocating, this applies to your day to day, this applies to your life as well, is pushing beyond that thought that pops in our head, or those thoughts, or, waking up in the morning and thinking, oh, I gotta, check if I have messages and emails, and because I used to do that. It's like I would get up first thing, and I would grab my phone, not even for social. The first thing I would check was emails to see, is there anyone that needs anything? And I have really stopped. I'm just like, okay, stop doing this, because you're looking for specific things. I'm looking for, something was settled, something was handled, some problem came up, this, that, another. And it's like, that's not the way to start the day. And I realized like a lot of things were in my control, but controlling me because I did not have like a better process. So in the past, I would say this year in general, I have changed my routine completely, because I also realize that I have a lot of faith as well in taking risk and steps and moving in a direction that helps me long term, and not overthinking it. That doesn't mean frivolous decisions. It just means if you really feel in your gut that something is a good thing, then find a way to make it work and happen, right? And when I say that, like, analyze things beyond the emotions, right? Analyze the business concept or idea beyond the emotional thing. Because a lot of times the emotional thing is tied to money and the feeling of lack, right? And I'm not a psychologist. I'm not one of those, people who are going to like, okay, whatever. But I do believe in manifesting the things and believing and having faith, because if you don't, no one else will. If you don't believe in it and you don't try and you don't put yourself out there and be consistent, you have to be consistent. Like, there are plenty of days, especially when I first started CASA, that I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like, is this person coming? Is this going to happen? I was telling someone the other day how I initially started out with kind of crazy Eddie deals. When I think back on it, and I'm so grateful for the first person who kind of worked for me full time was here helping me with the hosting, greeting people and stuff. And she's much younger. She's just an amazing individual and super smart. And she came in and she was like, well, I'm going to do this spreadsheet and I'm going to do this, that. And she started asking me all these questions. And I remember feeling like in my mind, I'm doing my own numbers and this stuff is paid for, everything's covered, like, because I'm charging da 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 da. But I did not have concrete, amounts anywhere. And buckling down, again, that's one of the tedious things that I just don't like. I just don't enjoy numbers and accounting and all that and checks and, give me the receipts and all that. I really, really shy away, but I know and I understand that it's important for us to know in business, in life, period, like what's happening, right? What are we doing? I have enough of a grasp on it where I'm like, okay, I got this, it makes sense, and it's okay. But there are certain things that I think, again, if we don't push through that, it's going to be the thing that kind of keeps stopping us from moving outside of our comfort zone. So, the point of saying all of this is that we have to also believe and trust in ourselves. And I feel that that goes across the board. It goes into, do you want to relocate? And if you do, how do I do this? How comfortable am I? Let me take the steps. Let me move into that. Last week, as I said, I was talking about owning and having a business. If you don't believe in that business, no one else is going to believe in that business. If you don't sit down and think through, like, okay, what's my plan? How can I market it? So that to me is one of the challenging things, is how do I get in front of the right eyeballs? And again, procrastination can sometimes really throw you off. And I'll tell you, because I do it sometimes, and I do my marketing online, I have help for that, social media and all this stuff. But there are certain things I don't necessarily like to do or I'm not comfortable with. For example, over a week ago, I finally started really posting Hacienda on the San Miguel pages that are not Hacienda Elm, Casa Elm, Michelle's, pages or groups or whatever. I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna make this flyer and I'm just gonna put it out there. And there were so many like positive like comments and things. People were like, what a great idea, da 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 da. The point is that I kind of sat on doing that for a while. And I had to like stop and think about, like, why are you feeling this way? Why don't you want to, blast it to the world? It's great, And I think it's just because it's so special. It means so much to me that I have this thing in my head where it's like, I don't want any friction around it. I want good energy around it. And then I'm just like, you know what? You can have all the good energy, because someone's, negative comment or potential negative comment or remark is not important. It's what you're doing, the work that you're doing. And so we can't let things like get in front of us. And a lot of times we are the ones that get in front of our own selves, and it becomes a challenge, right? Because we think too much, whatever. We have to really take more action and know that the action is going to render more than inaction, right? So, this to me is continuing to walk in the line of I manifested this, it's happening. People are very curious, people are asking a lot of questions. It's a different like mix in terms of the demographic. I'm not sure like people think or feel. Then I'm like getting a lot of folks who are really trying to be helpful. They're interested, they want to do things together, they want to collab and all this stuff. And then I start realizing I have so many resources as well around me that I hadn't thought of. And because I have a client who's coming and she wanted to bring her mom, and she had like, her mom had some things or some challenges or whatever. And I said, well, you know what? Let me reach out to a few folks that I kind of thought of. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot. I have like, a doctor in our community that's like really amazing, has so many accolades and all the things. We had a beautiful conversation yesterday. He was so responsive to, helping and getting on a call at the last minute and I just started thinking like, if I didn't do these things, if I didn't move forward, if I didn't ask questions, if I didn't put or do or post, like, I would just be sitting here like, oh, you can't just be in front of the computer and then not, doing the things, especially if you have a business. So, this is for me just kind of saying, if you manifest what you've been asking for, which we all can do, is we have to keep being consistent, even on the days when it's like, I don't feel like doing that. Oh, this is challenging. And this ties into a lot of the other like contractual things too, because for me, it's overwhelming at times because everything is in Spanish. And I'm like, okay, and then asking for what you want and need, like communicating that. And, literally, like I said to myself, was it today or yesterday? I just remember where I was walking past or to a door and through a door. And, from the whole, like passing through, right? Going through to the other side of the door. And I literally said to myself, okay, to survive in general in life and to survive in Mexico as a woman, a woman of color, not speaking the language great, not always understanding everything, you got to have big cojones, right? You have to have big attitude. And I definitely do. And I was just like, you know what? You've worked super hard to get where you are. And, so you're good, like, I think I still kind of go into myself, because I am a bit introverted. And so I kind of go in, I internalize, and I want everything to be perfect. And I'm like, okay, please don't bring me any nonsense or whatever, and I'm having too many conversations. And so sometimes, again, we're getting in front of ourselves. And this week was one of those weeks where I felt like I had this, like I was like waking up like, oh my gosh, okay, it's all so many things on my mind, so many things to do, so many things to fix and whatever. And then I have my group coming, which one arrived today, the rest are coming tomorrow. And then Fridays are, our day to start having our meetup and all this stuff. And I'm like, I gotta cook, I gotta do all this stuff. And so like my head's just like, plus I'm not feeling settled. My point is that I worked up too much mental energy, even though there's the thing where I think about something, but I interrupt that thought with a positive. Everything's going to be fine, but it's still kind of sitting here, and then I had some other disruptions on a personal level as well, with someone that I had a longer lasting relationship that's been assisting my son and things like that. And it was just like, things sort of just deteriorated really quickly. And I'm very, very patient until I am not. And then it was like, another person that was a part of this was like, just forget about it. Don't do anything. I'm gonna handle it this way. And I just could not let it go. I was literally just like, I was like, okay, let me see if which direction. If it's going south, then I'm gonna say what I need to say because yeah, I just felt like, I've eaten enough and I'm not eating anymore, and it's like to do with my kiddos' education. So the point of even bringing that up was one of the things that came out of this conversation because I had to talk to my son. I know I'm not giving you the full picture because I'm not trying to like dump on everyone, but I'm talking about this for a specific reason, and that is I talked to him about having integrity, and integrity is key when you are moving in life, whether it's having a business, relocating, being authentic. I really pride myself on being authentic. Yes, I'm here to earn. Yes, I'm here to make money. Yes, yes, yes to all of that. But I'm not here to take and deceive and be deceiving. Okay, that's just not who I am. I'm like, this is what it is. This is what I offer. If it works for you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too, because when people come here, I really pour myself into their experience and the house and the things that I do. I don't just, okay, they're here, let me just sit over here and whatever. I'm, try to be engaging, even if it's just someone who, rented a space or the accommodations and they didn't do a program. Like I am as balanced as I can across the board. And so for me, having integrity is super, super important. And that was kind of the lesson that I talked to my kiddo about. And this all ties into when you move through life with certain characteristics and certain things and you're authentic and you do your things, like you're going to have the success, that you've poured yourself into. You have to, because there's no way that, you're doing all of this for nothing. And that's why I say you have to believe in what you're doing and you move with integrity and you get better. Yes, you might make mistakes. Sometimes the house is challenging. Sometimes things don't work. I've had power outages and, things happen, right? Maybe something wasn't so comfortable or whatever it is. I take that in stride and I'm like, okay, even a few days ago, someone that's supposed to be coming in a group, and the group that will be here is being hosted by someone else. And the policies that I have and they have as well is, it's non-refundable, especially when you start paying things out to people. And, it's kind of right around the corner. And anyway, the host asked me, is it possible, because this person may not be able to make it to San Miguel because of all the challenges up in the north, and would they be able to get possibly a credit for the future? I offer credits, especially to people who are, coming here directly through me or through something that I'm facilitating. And I had to think about it for a moment. And I was kind of like, well, I've never had this situation, blah, blah, blah. But I thought about it afterwards and I said, you know what? Absolutely. Of course, there needs to be the flexibility, but I thought about it and I said to myself, this person's going through whatever they're going through. And if I have room in the future, why not, right? Like, why not have a space for that person so they can feel like, what I offer, and it doesn't mean like I'm bending the rules for everyone. That's not the case. It's just kind of like, I thought about it and I thought, well, that's to me moving with integrity if you can, right? And taking something into mind rather than just no, and so those are the things that, I was talking to my son about and how I feel like here in terms of just like, the way I move around. And at times, when it's challenging, it's so easy to get into ourselves and be kind of crabby maybe and be like, this is bothering me or this is bothering me. But sometimes we have to just kind of take a lot of things in stride and then say, you know what, I'm going to push through this. And that was this week for me. I still have another contract to deal with tomorrow, and it's just a lot. I was reading these 8 pages, and it's an employment contract. I'm still trying to understand all of that. Who do I get, like updated version of it? Who do I get it from? Who does it? And then in my head, I'm like, why does it cost so much? And then there's the whole renewing my uso de suelo, my permit to do my business and all the things. It was just like, this just feels like the contract week where everything is just like bam, bam, bam. But it's important. And even though it's not in English, taking all of the stuff, putting it over and telling people, nope, this is what I need. This is what it needs to say. This is whatever. And those are the things sometimes that I tend to be like, I don't want to deal with that. But it's important for us to deal with a lot of things in our lives when we don't feel like it, because if we don't, we're not going to necessarily push forward. It's not always about, the good times. I mean, I know as we get older, a lot of people do want to settle down, chill, and not have to work and stress out and all of that. Okay, that's not my situation at this time. I'm, hoping to get there. But at the same time, I think, it's important for us to be like, okay, I don't need to overthink these scenarios, right? But there are just those times when we're like, you know what? In a few days, this will be fixed. In a week, a month, whatever, we just have to keep pushing through, get the rest, relax. I had an amazing massage by a good friend who lives here, and she was like, I got hot stones and I can give you a hot stone. And I was just so, so, so blessed by this with her. I mean, she's just so amazing. And, I just kind of thought like in that moment, that's where I was. I was like, just be in this moment. So this week has just been really heavy in that regard. Because there's just been so many things all at the same time. And it's like translating the language. Plus, some of my clients are kind of going through some challenges as well because one of the local banks shut down. If you follow me online, you probably saw some of that if you follow things in San Miguel. And, I kind of feel like, I'm like, is everything okay? It's not my specific thing, but I also want to make sure that they're okay, right? And is everything working out? Everything all right? And then, I keep seeing all these like different like pieces of information on how you handle it. I'm like, okay, but I also don't want to be like, like when people are going through stress, I don't want to keep saying, oh, hey, here's a solution to your problem. Here's a solution to your problem. Because maybe in that moment, they're just trying to also come down off of that anxiety as well. So being also very mindful of what other people might be going through is super, super important. And, just respecting space, respecting what people do. As I said, having a business in Mexico can be extremely challenging. When I have time, I hope that I can bring, some people together to talk about their experiences of having a brick and mortar, which is what we talked about last week. I know Suki, if you follow Suki, she is in Oaxaca, the city of Oaxaca. She already had, and I posted her beautiful guest house. She had already her guest house space. However, she has now added like a little restaurant cafe. I think it's called Soul Cafe. And, she's been working hard getting that launched. And then I had another gentleman that I've known for a few years. He had a, I guess a Mediterranean place. And, he posted something today about all of the like things that he went through and what he thought his business was going to be and all the things. And he had it for a few years. I used to go there every now and then to eat. And he was saying how, it's just like it was super hard for him to close it. So we have to also think about that as well. Yes, there's the doing and the having or whatever. And I think that's probably where maybe having like a digital business is feels a bit safer, I guess. Safer depending on your circumstances. Clearly, if you're in a foreign country and that's your income, we're all hustling to make sure we can make it. But, I kind of really felt for him in a deep way because I'm also a business owner here in Mexico. And, he was saying how, like just his post was really like emotional. And I don't think this is something that just happened because I know that restaurants closed down quite a few months ago. But he was saying, thank you to everyone who came in and he thought he was going to do this and it's been really hard. And, he's like, I cried, I cried, I cried. And, it's like it's relatable, and I think it can be relatable for a lot of us when things don't kind of work out the way we want them to. I think we fall on our face, we fall down. I've had multiple businesses, okay? And we got to get back up again, right? Get our emotions out, do our thing, figure out how to be better, how to, you can't stay down on the ground. You just can't stay down on the ground, okay? So those are the things that I think can really do emotional damage and wear and tear on the body, on the mind, and making sure like, we take the time to step away from all of those challenges and those emotional things, that sometimes are just really up here, right? Where we're constantly maybe focusing on the money aspect. So what I want to say about that part is basically having, the ability to control how you view income, money, revenue, and all the things, right? Constantly put yourself in the place of it's already here, it's done, right? Because that's where you want to be, that's where you want to go to. If you're always chasing it, it's not always going to come to you. You know what I'm saying? You have to not just work hard, but you have to really work hard on mindset. I really, really believe this. I have, months out of the year that are really challenging. Like summer's kind of slow. People are doing their thing and they're not necessarily trying to come here. And, so I have to think like, okay, what would be an attractive thing that could happen in that month that I already know now historically is slow or slower? What's attractive later in the year where, maybe it's high season, but it's high season in another location because that's where people want to be, whether it's the beach or they want to be dead smack in Central, right next to the Christmas trees, who knows? But we also have to like just be willing to be flexible and try things, right? One year something may be really good, and then another it's like, it was okay, but wasn't as good as last year, and you just keep tightening in things, and the more people get to know what you offer, what your service or product is, then it starts to kind of come together. But at the same time, again, it's believing in the work and having multiple offers within whatever it is that you're doing or multiple things that you are doing. This is a great way to survive. So again, back to what I was talking about last week, having a place. So I've had, and I think I said this last week, I've had like different people approach me about different things, right? And it's because I'm already doing Casa Elm. I've had people approach me about some ideas or just kind of even telling me some concepts and ideas for Hacienda. And that's your idea. That's not my idea, right? So I'm here to support if you need something. Again, thank you for those who've done the business consultations. There are lots of things you can do. So if you watch my video from last week, you can see that. But, someone like, there's the whole buzz of, again, the co-living and all that. And, people are like, oh, you should do that. And I'm like, well, kind of already doing it. It's just a little different in the way it's worded and what's provided. I look at co-living as kind of like roommating, right? Because if you're simplifying it to we're sharing a house and rooms, you're kind of roommating. Yes, you're co-living, but to me, it's the same thing. If there's a difference, please drop it in the chat. Let me know. But I feel like, yeah, you can go in and you could do that, or you could be the person who sets a space up, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there, right? To be willing to say, all right, I have enough funds to support this. What is it going to be? How is it going to look? And what exactly is that cost going to be? You know what I'm saying? And then making sure you have it covered, and making sure that you have the right the right setup for you to make it make sense, right? If you're there, you rented the space, or you're buying the space, or whatever, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to rent a space, you rent a space. I tell people all the time, when you go to a strip mall, or a place, a warehouse, or whatever, they give you a shell, right? It's the same concept if you rent a house, or you rent a space and you want to do a business. You just need to make sure that, the owner's okay with that. And you also need to make sure that you get the right things. But people will say, oh, well, I don't really want to pay, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, so you pay for a house and then you go rent a space somewhere else. Like, you just do it all in the same location if it's a concept that can work, and you just make sure that you have all your stuff put together, because there's always going to be somebody around you, not always, but oftentimes there's people around that are, jealous or miserable, and they will try to, get into your stuff and your business. So that's, kind of the thing that I wanted to kind of put out there, is believing in yourself. If you don't, like, what's your vision and things like that, don't always kind of go to the people at the top of, the food chain or whatever, and be like, oh, and I'm not saying this like about myself. I'm just saying, like, oh, this idea, that idea. You have ideas, your own concepts, your things. It's special, right? It is very special. It's for you. It's something that you're doing that is really unique to you. It doesn't matter if 2 or 3 other people are doing it. You can customize it a little bit, you can bend it a little bit, and make it whatever it is for you. And I think it's important for us to really look at our own ideas and our own thoughts and what we feel really passionate about, and try to bring it. Even if you start at like a lower level, it's like, okay, for example, I love cooking. So I started doing that a couple summers ago, just because I wanted to earn some new, extra money. And I was like, you know what? All right, let me put this out there. And enough people had already eaten at my house, probably at no cost in general, because I do invite a lot of folks over for different things. If I have guests, I will invite, some others that live here. And so it wasn't difficult for me to do that, right? There are several people in our community who are great bakers. And I'm like, please, like, put a list together. Let me know when I can order. So when I have guests, I can just say, I need banana bread, I need this, and this. And just, I'll come and get it and pay you for that, right? So I'm always kind of like, this is delicious. Like, let's do a business. Like, not me, but like make a business out of it. There's another lady in our community. She makes the most amazing charcuterie boards. And honestly, when I tell you, I was like, are you kidding me? This girl was like, oh, this is my first time. And she looked at some books that I had, this was a few years ago. Amazing. And I just was like, oh, you don't need me. Because I was like, initially I said, we're going to do them together. And honestly, it didn't happen because she didn't need me. And I was just telling her, listen, this is funny to me that you said it's your first time, because it was just so perfect. She made like little flowers out of salami, and everything was just so perfect and neat and beautiful. And you just wanted to dive in and put your hands in and eat. It was really, really amazing. And it was a new thing. And I said, you know what? You could teach that. You could totally, dig in. Okay, Khadijah, yeah, when you're here, she can do that for you. She's also a yoga instructor. So she's amazing. And, I always tell her, like, if I need, she used to make these little welcome gift boxes for me, for my guests. But then, like, a lot of my guests are like, oh, I don't eat meat or I don't eat whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. Because, to go in there, I'm like all excited, like, here you go, here's your little gift box. And then, then no one ate the prosciutto or the salami. So I decided, oh, we need to do something else. But anyway, the point is that we all have something that's special, that's our talent. And, I just kind of, I hope that my enthusiasm and excitement makes sense and that it, like people can be inspired. Like if you have, let's say you have another friend, I mentioned her last week too. She's been here, whatever. Let's say you have your, pension, your social security, maybe it's not grand and you feel a bit limited. There's so many side things you can do. I have a few ladies, one that loves doing baskets. She made a few for me this past year, last Christmas and whatever. And they're gorgeous because that's not something I can find here. In the US, it's very common. Here, not at all. If I go to Costco's around Thanksgiving and Christmas, I do see them at Costco's. And they're huge. And I don't need one that has 50 things inside. I just sometimes want it to be a little bit more customized. So she will put something together. I'll say, oh, it's for a kid or it's for an adult and this is what they're celebrating. Happy to pay for those types of things, right? Because those are the things we enjoy. And so absolutely, absolutely, we can do vegan charcuterie options for those who don't eat meat. Yeah, absolutely. She actually did a breakfast charcuterie board for me for one of my yoga brunch events that I had a few years ago. We had pancakes, we had breakfast sausages and all the things. We did everything like a little bit separate, fresh fruits, all the things. I mean, honestly, I'm going to see if I can find it on my phone since I'm talking so much smack about it. But anyway, I'll continue in a moment. Just a second. Someone rang my bell. I don't know who it is. Ringing my bell. But there's just a lot we can do that we can supplement, income or collab with other people, whether it's a retreat, bringing someone, bringing a group. I'll say this, it's sometimes hard. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my phone because I'm looking for that charcuterie. Tahara, she's so amazing. Sometimes it can be a bit difficult trying to, do something with someone else. I've run into that a few times, and sometimes I am a part of the challenge because I have too many ideas and then I like to take too many things on and not always realistic about my time. But I'm very creative and I can give tons of, direction and ideas to other people. At the same time, time is still important and we sometimes need to make sure we are aligned with our purpose. So I will say this was a business that my son had and I helped him mostly. We were doing desserts and treats for certain times of the year. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see. Can you see that? All those cake pops? And that's when he was much younger. He still asks me about that. That was called Sweets by Micah. It was so much fun, but a whole lot of work. And we did like these little cookies, Oreo cookies for Valentine's with two little eyes and some little hearts and stuff on it. But that was quite a few years ago. But I just want to and can I tell you, he made quite a bit of money. We only did 3 orders. And then I was just like, okay, I'm doing most of the work. I'm exhausted. I remember one time I was up until 2 o'clock in the morning. And then I was just like, nope, that's it. We did order for, I think it was Halloween, like fall chocolate chip cookies. So it had like 3 different colors. We did something for Christmas. which were like the cookie things. And then we did something for Valentine's, what I just showed you. And he made some good money. We got a bunch of orders from moms. They would order like the whole little, like the bag with all the stuff in. He made them look really pretty, put his name on it. He had a little business card and all the stuff. So that's mom always pushing business ideas. But look at how amazing that charcuterie, and that's Tahara. I hope you can see that. Tahara and her charcuterie board. Listen, it makes me really hungry. Look at that. Isn't that cool? That was her first time. I said, girl, this is what you need to do for a living. And this is how it looked on my table. Can you see that? Okay. I should really have it on the screen. I hope you can see that. But anyway, so many cool things. So many cool things. And I was like, this is what you do. You teach classes and, have parties. I mean, San Miguel is so social. You can have parties and stuff like that around town. So again, believing in yourself, pushing through adversity and doubt, all the things out of the way, and just going for it. Because if you don't go for it, trust me, it's not going to happen. Because no one else is going to be there to really be like, do it, And I say that no one else. I mean, yes, if you're with someone or someone in your life, they're probably going to encourage you and support whatever. But at the end of the day, if you don't have that fire burning down inside, it's when it gets hard and tough, it's going to be a challenge, okay? And when there are things that you don't, because we're not going to want to do everything, right? I love the creative. I want to create the colors. I want to decorate the space. I want to make it beautiful. I want to do all the things. But when it's time to put it out there, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like, okay, where do I even start? Reaching out to people, asking if I can, show up somewhere, putting it out, like I said, to the masses. I'm like, I don't like that part. And I always say I have all these amazing things. And once I launch it, I'm super excited, especially if it has to do with getting a space ready. Love decorating, love decor, all the things, right? But when it comes to marketing, even though people are always like, oh, your marketing is great, blah, blah, blah. I honestly sometimes, pull back on it a little bit from an emotional standpoint, but we have to move beyond that because when I look back of where I was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, even starting my online business, it was one of those things where I didn't know really where this was all going to go. I didn't have intentions initially to have a space, and one thing led to another, to another, to another, and that's the reason why I say you just gotta start. You just don't know where it's going, but you have to start. You got to believe in it. So, having the right mindset through the challenges is really important. And I will give you more on that because this is something that I actually did a video, but I didn't post it because again, I'm always in between. I don't want my thoughts and my time to rest with or in drama. But I also like to turn a situation or thing into a lesson as well, especially for myself and maybe for my son too. So I talked before months and months and months and months ago. I'm thirsty, hold up. Months and months and months ago about the topic was, is there prejudice in Mexico? And I spoke, as I usually do, about my own personal situation. If you didn't see that video, that's fine. Go back and find it. I'm not going to really get into the details. But what I do find interesting, and this came up this week, and that's the reason why I am talking about it. I'm not going to get into the details of what happened that kind of led to all the nonsense or whatever. But when I first came to Casa, there was this super annoying, she still lives on the street, neighbor, right? A racist neighbor from the United States. And she was all up in my business and all the things. And I remember even then, I was feeling very like, just annoyed and very like, holding a lot of things in because, first of all, coming from New England, the Northeast area, people just mind their business. And that's what I was used to, right? And in Mexico, same, right? And so a lot of these things that kind of were happening, I remember just thinking like, wow, the audacity of someone to come here and think, they somehow run the street or the neighborhood. I have no idea. So I really did not go at anything hard, because I was already going through my own personal things. I was getting my separation. I was moving, through my own things. I was setting my new business up. I was working really, really, really hard to get everything off the ground and really make it make sense for me and my son, and to, okay, how are we going to make this work so we can stay, so there was a lot that was going on for me emotionally. I was holding so much together. I was bottling so much up, and I was just like, this is going to work. I'm going to do it, and I was just catering to everyone, making sure everybody was happy and having a good time, blah, blah, blah. And then there was this person, it was like, somebody like over here, like, like this gnat. And I just wanted to crush her. I won't say it. I wanted to crush her. And I was just like, hold it in, hold it in. Now, I will say this. I am a Scorpio to my core, okay? For anyone who believes in signs. I am a Scorpio to my core, right? And when I light something on fire, it is crispy, it's charred, there's ashes, all the things, okay? So I'm chill until I'm not. And so this kind of carried on for a while, and I didn't say anything, I didn't, whatever. So I talked about that already. And the point of bringing it up is like we had an altercation. And when I tell you, like, I think the whole street heard it. I don't know, did not care. I was so blackety black that day. I did not, when I tell you Jamaican ghetto, that was that day, okay? And that's not something that I'm necessarily proud of, but I will bring it when I need to. Now, why am I telling you this? Because I have gotten past and over that. That was several years ago. And, this person does not bother me, doesn't whatever. The point of saying it is that recently, well, shortly thereafter, that whole thing, one of her friends came to me and said, oh, Michelle, I don't talk to this person anymore. I'm so sorry, la, 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 la. Left it alone. And I said, no big deal. I don't really care. Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes it's necessary to put people in their place. But I said, I don't really care. It is what it is. It is what it is. And that was that. Now, moving forward, this past couple of, I would say the last 2 months, I had a lady who came to my house, and she was very sweet. She came, she rang the bell, and my son was like, Mom, there's someone looking for you. And I'm like, I'm downstairs, like even right now. And I said, who? Right? Because I get really like, who is it? Especially if I'm not anticipating or expecting anyone. I was like, who is it? And he's like, I don't know. I said, do they speak English or Spanish? He's like, English. So I was like, so I go upstairs. I just kind of opened my side door, and I stuck my head out. And I was like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, she starts to say whatever. She's like, oh, I'm not here to bother you. I just, I just wanted to tell you that I met a guest of yours on the shuttle. And she was very sweet, but like, I think just my whole, yeah, what do you need? And so then she starts like to go into, why she came. She's like, I'm moving back to the US. My husband's really ill. I love San Miguel. I've been here for over 27 years. This was back in, I think, August. I've been here for over 27 years. And, I have a lot of West African art. If you're interested, I'm going to have an estate sale, because she met a black person on the shuttle and they came here, da 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 da. And I didn't know her. And so I was like, oh, okay, so I kind of came up all the way out. And she was like, I didn't really want to bother you, da 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 da. And then like she's like, this is my address. I'm down the street if you're interested in any African art. So I said I might be, she gave me her number. Then she proceeds to tell me about this crazy person that I had to give the business to. Now, this is now 3 years ago, right? But this conversation happened in August of this year. And I was just like, I kind of just frowned and I said, she's like, oh, she's such a racist. And so I had to stop talking to her and she's so nasty and she's so da 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 da. So I'm assuming she's had something to say about me. So clearly her feelings are still hurt, right? And hopefully she's watching. And so aside from that, I just said, I really don't care. Like, if I have time, I'll come by and look at the African art. So that's done. Well, last weekend, I'm driving through the neighborhood. There's another woman. I think she's Mexican. I'm not 100% sure, but I think she adopted. I'm assuming she adopted. She has a black daughter, and I think she's adopted. So we know her because I see them walking, around. I think they help sit houses and stuff like that. So I see the daughter every now and then, and I see her sometimes in certain groups and circles and things. And, I was saying hi to her. She's younger. I think she's 14 or something like that. Really beautiful, like dark skin, like beautiful, like dark, dark, dark chocolate. I'm not sure where she's from. I haven't had like extensive conversations, but so I'm leaving out of the neighborhood, going to wherever, and I see the mom, and she's like, and so I stop, I wind the window down. I was like, hey, how are you? How you doing? Da, 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 da. And she proceeds to apologize to me for having to take a job with the woman that I gave the business to because she needs the money. And I thought, this woman is still talking. Good for her. I was like, she's still talking about me. Good. I was like cracking up to myself. So the point is just, like, we have to do what we're doing. People are always going to be, behind you. Have people who complain sometimes about it's indirect complaining, doesn't necessarily come directly to me, but it comes back to me sometimes, not all the time, about what something might cost or whatever, and I think to myself, don't do it, right? If it's not for you and you don't want to pay it, then don't do it, right? If someone's like over here, like constant, whatever, that's good. That means you're doing something well. I feel like you're doing something well. I'm not bothering anybody. I'm doing my work. And I feel like, for this person to still be, talking all this stuff after getting the business 3 years ago, good for you. Clearly, you have nothing better to do with your life. So my whole thing of saying is that, this is also can be a challenge because for me, I look at it as the folks that are hearing what they're hearing, they don't know me. You know what I'm saying? They don't know me personally. And, I feel like the work that I'm doing is good work. And I love what I do. I love helping people. My door is open to everyone. Yes, predominantly the people that I am helping are predominantly Black women, but my space is open to everyone. I have a nice mix of people that come through, and I'm happy about that. I feel very blessed. I feel very lucky, all the things. So for me, it's just one of those things where I think to myself, well, you know what? I could let that continuously bother me. I could go on, but I feel like, you know what? Good. Keep chatting, keep talking about me. My only thing is the people who don't know me, I would say, it puts, because it's a small community and sometimes it might put a negative thing, but it's funny because each person that has said something, they've literally apologized and said, oh, I'm so sorry. But, so I'm thinking, wow, it must be pretty vicious for them to be apologizing for someone else's actions and someone else's things. And I just would say to myself, I hope you spoke up and I hope you said something that was, this is not who I am, this is not who I represent, as opposed to ingesting all of this nonsense. So in the end, as I said, for me, I keep trucking through, I stay focused, I stay on my path, I keep loving on people, keep loving on my business, my guest, my life, my situation, because I created it, okay, with the help of God, the help of the universe, the help of anything you want to say, however you want to view or see it. And you can do the same. Everybody is capable of this, everyone is capable of making it. We just have to be focused. Sometimes we have to pivot. Sometimes we have to rethink whatever. Is it easy? No, absolutely not. But it's just as hard for the next person and the next person next to us. When you have to work and push through things, it's just that's life. So I think it's important that we not absorb too much of the negativity, don't exert too much energy on the nonsense. I just chuckle now, like I laugh, and I was just like, okay, cool. Like you said, right, Khadijah, the haters are free PR and marketing. Absolutely, absolutely. And Michelle said my diplomatic Libra soul is choking over here. Yeah, honestly, yeah, no. Scorpio to the core, with Jamaican on top of that, okay? So the point is that this week was a bit challenging because there were just things that I really just didn't want to deal with. And I came out on the other side feeling super light, super airy, super relieved. And I thought, why are you making such a big deal? Like, why did you go through these emotions and stuff? And I interrupted a lot of those emotions and thoughts along the way. I spend my mornings and my nights listening to a lot of things that really help recondition the way I think and feel and whatever, but there's still that deep, thing inside. And I think that we just have to look at ourselves sometimes and figure out, like, how are we getting in our own way, right? And am I believing enough in this? I believe in Casa Elm, absolutely. I may resist wanting to do things that I don't like, but I believe in Casa, and I jumped in. Same with Hacienda. I officially, and I've shared this with a few people, I don't know if I shared it here, but I officially have a business partner, and this is not someone who came in from the beginning. It's someone who came in a couple months ago. And one of the reason why I'm even telling you this is because one of the things that they said to me was, you did this, like, it's very courageous of you that you just, jumped in. And I remember I just looked at the person and I said, you're here. So that's the point. It didn't start out that way. And, I went ahead and I did it anyway. And I didn't ask for a partner either. I was just like, I know it's going to work. I know this is going to make sense. I know that someone's coming. I know that people are going to need this. I just believe in it. I know this is a good thing. And I'm just going to keep moving those rocks around the land, and I'm going to fix stuff that needs to be fixed. And I'm going to add, the love that it's missing and all the things. I'm going to repurpose what I can, fix that kitchen, and I'm going to keep moving forward, okay? And that's the reason why I believe in things when I know my gut and my intuition is telling me, like, this makes sense, it makes sense, it makes sense to do it. And when that happened, I remember going to sleep that night feeling very relieved, like, okay, you know what, this is going to work just fine. And, having, other people to be a part of something, absolutely, it does help quite a bit, but it needs to be the right scenario, the right situation, and both of you have to be wholly in it and believing in it as well. Yes, you can have investors and things like that, that's fine, but most investors are looking for their investments to come back with interest and all that. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. That's the point, right? But I also think too that there are a lot of scenarios, and sometimes when the opportunities are in front of us, we just need to be open to them. Okay? Yes, I believe that, Khadijah. Build it and they will come. So that's my speech for tonight. Thank you all for being here. If there's anything you want to see, please let me know. I'm going to say that I have a few more Wednesday nights between now and the end of November, and then I will be off in December and returning maybe in January, probably February in terms of back online. That is my goal, is to have 2 months of a break, whether I'm physically here or not, but just 2 months of like slowing down and really resetting and getting ready for the new year, and going into it, spending time with my kid, making memories with him and all the things. So I'm glad that this came back up. I have no idea what happened with the YouTube portion, but I'm glad you could hear and see me. So thank you all so much for being here. Appreciate it. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe and share. If there's something that you want to hear about, know about, whether it's business, please feel free to book a consultation. Relocation consultations are all on my website. But you're welcome to also send us an email, info@casaelm.com. Thank you all. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And tomorrow starts our meetup. Super excited. Have a good one.